You ever see an Italian name and just freeze? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. So many of us stumble over them. But here's the cool thing. There are just a few simple rules that, once you know them, will have you sounding way more confident. So let's dive in and unlock the secrets to pronouncing these names like a pro. Okay, let's jump right in with one of the biggest, most common mistakes out there. You see a name like this, and your first instinct is probably to say Monteforte, right? Well, in Italian, it's actually Monteforte. See that? Just that tiny shift from E to E makes a world of difference. And that, my friends, is our first big clue. And that leads us perfectly to our very first rule, which is honestly a total game changer. I call it the not E rule. Seriously, if you just get this one thing down, you're going to instantly sound better on like thousands of Italian names. No exaggeration. So here it is. It's super simple. If an Italian name ends with the letter E, you always, and I mean always, pronounce it with an sound. You know, like the E in the word get. That's it. It's one of those wonderfully consistent rules that's so easy to remember. All right, let's try a couple. Look at this first one. It's not carbonari, it's carbonare. Do you hear that? That short, crisp sound? And let's go back to our first example. Not Monteforte, but Monteforte. It might feel like a small thing, but trust me, it makes a huge impact. All right, rule 1 is in the bag. You got this. So, what's next? Let's move on to our second big challenge, what I like to call cracking the C code. This letter trips up so many people, but you'll see it's actually got a really simple pattern once you know what to look for. Okay, here's the secret sauce. Whenever you see the letter C right before an E or an I, it makes a soft che sound. You know, like in the word cheese. It's not a hard k sound, and it's definitely not an S sound. Just remember, che or chi. Let's look at this name, Caravino. See how that C is followed by an E? That's our trigger. So it's pronounced Caravino. It's absolutely not Sevavino. Think about it. If they wanted an S sound, they just spell it with an S. That ch sound is everything here. And you want to hear something really cool about this name? It's got Sicilian roots, and char basically means to smell, and vino, well, you know that one, it's wine. So the name literally means to smell the wine. How amazing is that? It tells a whole story. Let's make sure this rule really sticks. Just look at the name Sina. Because the C is followed by an E, we know it's Cina, not Sina. It's that simple. So just remember, C plus E or I always gets you that ch sound, never sa. All right, you've got 2 major rules down. Now, let's level up. We're going to start tackling some of the trickier names, the ones where a few different rules all show up at once. This is where it gets really interesting. Okay, first thing we need to know for these tricky names, double consonants. Now, this is important. In Italian, you don't say the letter twice. Instead, you just hold it. You stretch out the sound for an extra little beat. It gives the word a kind of rhythm, a little bit of weight. Let's take the name Mafoto, for example. You see that double F and that double T? So what you do is you hold that F sound just a little, muffs, and then you do the same with the T, auto. Put it all together, muffato. Try saying it. You can almost feel that little pause, can't you? It's pretty cool. And once you start listening for it, you'll realize this pattern is absolutely everywhere in Italian. You hear it in names like Manelli, where you hold on to that L sound for a moment. Same with names like Fiorello or Fiorillo. It just adds this beautiful, distinctive rhythm to the language. All right, you ready for a boss-level challenge? Let's break down the name Bayardo. First things first, the vowels. In Italian, you pronounce every single vowel nice and clearly. So it's ba, ya, r, do. Hear that open ah sound? Now, yeah, the Italian art is rolled. And look, that takes a lot of practice. Don't sweat it. Honestly, if you just nailed the vowels, you're already 90% of the way there. Okay, here is another super simple, super reliable rule for you. Remember how C before E or I was soft? Well, when you see C and H together, CH, it's always a hard k sound. No exceptions, ever. This is one of those rules you can absolutely take to the bank. So when you see a name like this one, your English-speaking brain is going to scream Ficino, right? But nope, you know the rule now. That ch is a trap. It's actually a hard K sound, so it's Ficino. Hear that? That sharp, clear K sound. It makes all the difference. So, we've spent a lot of time on the how to say these names. But now, let's get to what I think is the coolest part, the why. Because behind the sounds and the letters, there are actual stories, fascinating histories just waiting for us to uncover them. This is where it gets really, really cool. If you've ever seen an Italian last name that ends in aro, you're not just looking at a name, you're looking at a clue to what that family's ancestors did for a living, maybe hundreds of years ago. It's like history, just hidden in plain sight. Check this out. The name Ferraro, for instance, probably came from a family of bakers. The Italian word is fornaio. Or comparo? That was likely a bell ringer. A funaro was a rope maker. All of a sudden, these aren't just random sounds, are they? They're job titles. They're the stories of ancient crafts passed down through generations. And I think that really gets to the heart of all this. Learning to say a name correctly isn't just a language lesson, right? It's about so much more. It's about connecting with and respecting the history, the culture, and the actual human story that's wrapped up in that name. So that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Whether your own last name is Italian or from somewhere else entirely, every name has a story. Every name means something. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What story does your name tell?